Welcome back as we transition through new updates for the karmic third party. For those of you that are new, we are going to cover this in two ways. We're going to get into that. So for those of you that don't know, I am Yildiz from Yildiz Readings. We cover here the energy around the karmic third party and attempt to provide tools for your journey. Now, we are going to look at this in two parts, as mentioned. First, around the energy that the karmic is going to experience and how they directly can be responding to it to keep you in the loop. And if I have any tips, I will give them to you. Separately, we are going to be looking at the direct joint connection. So it's more in the context of if there is a third-party situation. And you also can look at this from how to deal with a karmic, for instance, especially if this is an old subject matter and it's coming back around to be dealt with. We will cover it in that fashion, but you will have to listen to it from that angle. Let's get into it without further ado, because the beginning of this month is dynamic and we are going to have some shifts and changes with the third party energy. Now, let's get the cards up on screen and have a look at what I see coming through for the karmic. Now, the first thing I'm really noticing is it could be that they're really questioning in the context of their life when it does come to this crowning energy, you know, how to get their star. You know, we always look at the star card in tarot and have this comprehension and understanding that sometimes it's darkest before the dawn. Sometimes we do directly make it out of that. Sometimes we directly can fall into that victim consciousness. And this can be where the person is acutely aware of what simply isn't working. And, you know, sometimes that directly can be very confronting because we do have to look at our shadow. We do have to sit in that darkness to gain that intuition. And in that uncomfortableness post-eclipse, it could be that critical ability to be able to feel such if they had been in avoidance. This can be a point where they either start actually dealing with it or they directly stay in that stagnation and feel, how could we place it? Disempowered. And I do feel this person at the moment is feeling quite lackluster, unmotivated by things, and maybe not really having the clarity or understanding, you know, why this is directly happening to them. Why, for instance, universe A is not against them, but rather they're going through a simulation of an experience and they're feeling very disillusioned by it. This can be that there is a second guessing towards maybe what their hopes and dreams are. It also can be that something they are trying to achieve, and with all attempts, it's almost like it felt quite futile. Now, this is going to be something that they do need to face. Although it can feel quite emotional, this is really holding them quite stuck at the moment. It's making them feel as though there's no hope. Now, as we look at the first row, they're supposed to be coming out of this in a sense of a funk in their life. And can we exhibit as twin flames karmic frequency? Yes, we can, especially when we're dealing with our shadow or our mirror. So it's very useful at times to actually go back these videos and actually utilize it by our shadow and having that self-awareness. Separately, I do see this person actually not completely at this point in time realizing this quietness, this lack of momentum was more to give them clarity so they could pivot over saying this is the status quo and this is what has to be. But I do think directly they are looking at the past and they're feeling just things aren't possible. Nothing's really possible. How do they get out of this rut? How do they get out of this grind? And it's in many areas of their life. And I do feel there is a distinct possibility. There has been some attachment, and this attachment could be in a sense of codependency. It might feel as though if they do pivot in a particular way, there is going to be an adverse outcome. Working through disbeliefs, imaginative leaps, fresh perspective. You know, that whole cycle was there really to have a transformation. We're noticing the horse, we're noticing the purity and a fresh beginning. We're noticing the purple coming through on the mane, which is very psychic in nature. And a lot of times when we're stuck in our ego, we directly can't gain that spiritual perspective. of the magical realm. And we notice the butterfly wings, and it feels like there is a transformation, but I don't directly feel this person is picking up on signs that this is what directly is going on. There is a transformation happening in their life, and sometimes those transformations, we don't directly like them, but universe has a bigger picture for us. And, what they're really guided to do at this point, although I don't feel they're doing it, they're not feeling really connected to nature. They're not observing things because they are quite 3D at this point in time. And it can be that if they do react from a point of frustration and anger, they're really going to live to regret it. And we do see this person moving forward here of really, really questioning everything they've ever really done. But they do have an opportunity here to change and to move, but they're wanting to hold on to the past. And the past has directly changed. We can see it through all references of these cards. But this person is almost like, it feels like they're wanting to go back into the womb space. They're wanting to go back to what feels more in the resonance of them. What do I mean by that? Look at the card. Look at the card with the red. The girl is sitting there quite disillusioned, almost like, this doesn't feel like my planet. This doesn't feel like I should be here. I'm not really seeing the benefit of this. There's tatters in the background. There's fire. There's anger. There's bitterness. And they just feel it's quite sickening. So what makes them feel comfortable is something that's very familiar. And so from a codependent point of view, it could be that they're going back to old patterns. It could be that they're wanting to go back into the comfort of the wound of doing something that's very familiar to them. But what they're finding a great challenge is that's not working anymore. So it's actually forcing them to have to move forward and really, really feeling quite out of their depth. Now, what usually would be an opportunity to look at life from a different angle and say there's infinite possibilities. This person's looking at it like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where I'm going. I don't even know what the dream is anymore. They can really feel as though they are having an existential crisis, and it's causing confusion. They just don't know how this has come to where they have been. And they don't even know if the direct dream was the dream or if it was somewhere they directly just felt really comfortable. I can say this week it does feel like they're quite angry. There's this vibe where they're feeling unmotivated, like everything comes to an end. They're holding on to what has ended, but it's reached its life cycle. And they want to, although it's almost like seizing the moment and appreciating that of what was and giving it grace, but really moving forward, there are some messages coming from universe, and they're going to become louder and louder to the point they're having to address it. Now, this could be kick off at the start of the month. If they're really not accepting this change, it does appear to be that it's going to be forced upon them. They also, in response to this, do appear to be that they're becoming quite forceful. Now, I do think what is wise is they may wish to ask questions, but they're not doing this. They're going in the angel sphere to tread. They're being quiet. They're responding to it over pivoting. And this is the danger. When we respond to things out of frustration and anger, at some point, if it happens enough, we do pause and say, hey, why is this happening? Why does this keep happening? How do I break this cycle? I feel that there's a series of circumstances in their life that just are not going according to plan. And due to that, they're not okay with that. They're not actually having this revelation that other people around them are actually having these experiences. And I feel regardless of that, they're like, they know what they want and they're going for it. And I don't think that's going to have a very good outcome. I do feel it's more, I feel some more harsh lessons coming from them as the weeks proceed. And it's going to be a bitter pill for them to swallow. But unless they accept that hermit mode, that intuition, that reflecting upon what this is, they're holding on to something that no longer can give them what they need. Now, we are going to look at this especially from the outcome card, and go back and travel back and see how this relates inside a karmic relationship. And for some reason, I'm feeling this is solidly relating to that. It's relating to a way of being. It's relating to how their life has been set up to this point in time. It feels very foreign to them. It feels as though when they are looking at the romantic sector, at the codependent factors, at the things and the systems that they were very much connected to, even though to a degree it might be that it hasn't turned out the way they felt, and they're very angry about that. They're angry that their plan that has been kind of implemented so tactfully has not resulted in the way and the fashion that they had envisioned it. Now, that is due to external situations, and they're really referencing all the way back to 2020 and beyond. It's very frustrating. So it could be for some of you, this individual has been dealing with this karmic cycle since then, might have been involved since then, or regardless how they've developed their skills, it hasn't worked. And it feels very wasteful. It feels as though everything was futile and for nothing. Now, although I do feel for some it could be that they're very near to an outcome, and I can't say it's a positive one, but it is an outcome nevertheless. It's a message in a bottle. I get that it is with, these things that are impossible aren't actually impossible. It's more saying you've eliminated one way of doing something. There is a lesson and a message in this bottle. You need to take it. And I feel this person really hasn't felt grounded, has been out of their depth. They're being forced into a different environment. They're feeling as though everything that is happening is due to another in their life, and they're not realizing it's part of Mother Nature. There's cycles that we move through, change is necessary. We've been changing all the time. The only difference is when we have control of those changes, it feels empowering. When we don't, it feels it's happening to us, but it's actually happening for us. And I see this person projecting out at the intimate connection and feeling very angry at people. And because of that, it is causing a lot of catastrophe inside of their romantic sphere. It is impacting different areas of their life, but they're not realizing it. It's literally, I can see a man on the red card directly behind them. And it's almost like they're making a deal with the devil, and it's giving into that vibration. It's giving into that angry vibration. It's not realizing the power that they have. And I think however they're going to respond, if it is quite vengeful, it's actually not going to serve them. It's not going to give them what they want. If anything, it's pushing the thing that they're desiring further away from them. I do feel also, I'm hearing the term that ship has sailed, and they're not, how can I explain it? It's like they're not accepting it. They're wanting to go back to the past. This also can link to those of you, and it's weird, it's coming through like a Venus retrograde. I believe Juno's making a particular aspect. So it does feel this person all of a sudden, if they really are not connected to counterpart or to either side of the twin flame connection, whoever these individuals are, I do feel they can be on both sides of the fence. Partnerships coming back from the past with an element of regret, but there was a karmic lesson for them. They haven't received it. So if they are coming back around, it is because they're supposed to realize something and see it from a different side. But they're really referencing here that ship sailed. They've done their dash. I think the hard part is this person inside of this belief they had a lot more time. And I think while they've been entertaining other things in their life, they have been actually putting their responsibilities and it's almost like taking things for granted. That's the reference that they're showing me. And it's like their guide's coming and saying, this really has never been their dream. It never has been their dream. And it's whatever these pressure points are, it's really supposed to be forcing them to accept the truth that they feel inside. But they're so fixated on living in a particular way that they are not wanting to see something any other way. But they're going to be forced to, because as we do move to the next row, we see It's futile. There is an ending coming. This person is needing to evolve. The universe is saying it's time for this person to evolve. And even if they don't want to face this, behind the shadow of what they've been focusing on, this could be an ancestor that's transcending. This could be, and for some, very heavily, I'm feeling it's accepting the relationship is over. Accepting that a lot of time has been wasted, resentment can crop up due to that, and they're pivoting and needing to go in a different direction. And this is landing at the beginning of the month, be it they want it or not. I don't feel they're ready. I really don't. I think it's going to take them by surprise, and I just think it's going to get them to a place where they have to address the uncertainty. It might take them back into that hermit mode if they're wise to do some reflection and healing. But they've felt the instinct of the uncertainty coming. They're just getting the clarification of it now. Now, don't forget to stay tuned because we do cover this content weekly, and we are going to start pivoting where we do connect in with how the romantic sector is going for each individual. We do cover the masculine, feminine, and karmic, and we are going to be providing more content moving forward as we do move into 2026. So pay attention to our content that's landing and to our blog feed because we try to give you notifications about it. Make sure to click the bell and subscribe separately. You can go through to our website where you can get bookings and you can subscribe to that location also. That way, as we have updates happening, webinars, you keep in the know and you get the updates based on that. Sage Inner Circle Network is open for those of you that want to sign up. You place your name in. We do have a landing page and it gives you all the information for it so that you can get in for the second round offers and be on board. We do have the landing page and information directly below. Otherwise, I will see you next week for the Karmic third party update. Take care and I'll see you soon.